talk about Stephenie Meyer's saga, Twilight. Specifically the first movie. And today is a very special episode because we have our very first special guest star, Jessie Matheson. You want to introduce yourself? So, Jessie, you have a little bit of expertise on Twilight.
Oh, sadly, yes, I do. I was your kind of classic, like, teeny bopper. This came out early 2000s, and I read all the books very enthusiastically at the age of, like,
you read the
14.
Books?
Oh, I read the books multiple times, Jordan.
Okay. We have an expert.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, and I also read the spin-off, 50 Shades of Grey, which is Twilight fanfic, if anybody doesn't know that.
Well, you may have read the books, but I saw the movie once in 9th grade, so we'll see if you can hang.
Yeah, I don't know, you might know more than me, so we'll see. But yeah.
So you can show us how kind of the books compare to the movie and...
Yeah,
you know.
how they both equally suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be good. I think we'll have a good time. But per tradition of the podcast, we're going to segue our way into screenplay ideas. This week, Jordan's got a great idea for us.
Well, Shima, I would say that it's less of an idea, more of a movement. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. I've been sitting on this for a long time. This has been well thought out. Hopefully it's well articulated.
I'm so excited.
Because it's very political in nature.
We've gotten political on every single episode so far.
It's an idea. It's a movement. It's very important to me.
I'm so scared.
And I think the first thing that we have to do when we're considering where we're going forward in life is recognize that abortion is murder. So obviously that people... Obviously, we all know that taking the life of a single-cell organism is murder, and everyone agrees, generally, on that fact, and usually isn't divisive in any way. So, it got me thinking, right? We talk a lot about marginalized communities. We talk a lot about
God, where is this going?
people of low SES, people of certain races. We really like to stick up for the little guy, but there is a little guy that never goes recognized. Someone...
Dwarves.
See, you say that, but we have charities that exist for achondroplasia patients. We don't have charities for these patients. And of course, I'm referring to bacteria. The littlest of the little guy.
So you just compare poor
even.
people to bacteria scum.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, actually, believe it or not, we don't commit mass genocide of poor people.
No.
I mean,
Directly,
what time
directly,
period are you
directly.
talking about?
Okay, so
Okay, yeah.
we have, as a society, determined that the living organism of the bacteria is condemned to death. And we have done that in a way in which we've produced pharmaceutical companies for the sole purpose of killing single-cell organisms.
And for making money.
And profiting off of killing single-cell organisms. Thank you, Trevor. In my view, this is an egregious error. We have, as a society, come way too complacent about taking the lives of bacteria to the point where we all agree that it's totally Gucci. That is not okay with me. And I'm going to start a grassroots movement, starting with this mini-series screenplay that I am proposing to stand up for the little, the microscopic guy.
Okay.
All right.
Bacteria lives matter.
Bro, this movie already happened. It's called Osmosis Jones.
That's so true!
Do fucking research.
I will.
That's actually about a virus, Sheila. Don't you know you can't give antibiotics for that?
Osmosis Jones was about a white blood cell. That is a human cell.
That's true.
And a
And
virus.
it did not
Who was
take the
best?
stance of the virus, the little guy.
Yeah.
This viral lives matter as well. So, in fact, that's one of the later episodes in the miniseries. But first, we're going to be taking a look at pharmaceutical companies, how they've profited off of taking the lives of innocent single-cell organisms. Then we're going to look at the hospitals, the people, the doctors, the frontline healthcare workers committing genocide. Then, in episode 3, we'll start a grassroots movement.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Oh, yeah.
Do you consider yourself a murderer?
No, I consider myself a proud conservative.
Yeah, but like your body like kills bacteria like all the time.
Yeah.
I can admit that I am part of the problem.
Okay.
I contribute to the problem.
So do you acknowledge by not killing these things, like, we're gonna die, and that's, like, chill?
What we need to recognize is that everyone deserves an equal opportunity. Bernie Sanders comes in front of us and says we should redistribute the wealth. We need to redistribute life. Bacteria deserve a chance too. No one wants to stand up for them. If it comes at the cost of the millionaires and the billionaires and their healthy human bodies, then so be it.
Could it be due to the fact that they're not sentient?
What is sentient?
That's actually a good
Conscious.
question.
You're the neurologist.
Yeah.
Future.
They sentient beings are conscious and they can experience joy and suffering. And
Critical thinking.
as I've said on this podcast many times, that's where I derive my ethics from. Is from
Well, I propose this question to you guys. Where do we draw the line?
of consciousness. I don't think it's I think you draw the line somewhere, but I think it's a continuum. Like humans are obviously more more sentient than like raccoons but raccoons are still like self-aware. Like you can't just grab or like dogs. Like humans are more important than dogs. If you can like save a human's life or a dog, well, that's maybe a bad example.
Bro, raccoons
There's
are totally sentient. Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
That's our
Fair.
yeah.
Fair.
Indisputable.
Yeah.
But they're humans above like other mammals that we don't care about or protect as much as humans. But you can't just like take a bunch of dogs and just like torture them and kill them. That'd be unethical because they're suffering, right?
Right.
And
And
then those are more important than like fish, which are more important than like insects. I'd say like right around fish is where there starts to be kind of a line.
Right. Well, and you're drawing the line of like why bacteria, but like I would argue like why not protozoa because they're closer to us, right?
Oh, true.
Oh, we're about in Bacteria Lives Matter. We are all inclusive.
Okay.
We stand up for the protists.
All right. All that trick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's a hot take.
It is a hot take. It reminds me of that thing of like when people are like shitting on vegetarians and vegans, they'll just be like, oh well, you eat plants and we gotta save the plants and somebody's gotta stand up for the plants. It kind of reminds me of that. But
I will be the guy who stands up for the plants
All right.
and the vegan sense of self-entitlement.
I like the determination you have to stick to those morals.
But I think if you're gonna stick to those morals, you gotta be all or nothing. Like if you're gonna go as far as to like save the bacteria, you can't eat meat, you can't eat plants. You gotta fucking like cleanse your body of anything that'll kill them.
I would say the opposite.
body.
You would have to just
So-
eat raw meat all
right,
the time.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm on Jess's
You
team
can't even
here.
sear your steak. You just have to like palm that shit in your mouth.
Oh yeah, no, and
Yeah.
we're not showering anymore.
All right.
But then that implies that you care, like if your whole thing is about encompassing all forms of life, then eating the meat would just mean that you're not considering the cow's life.
It's an interesting point, but the cow's already dead.
Yeah, but when you eat meat,
It doesn't
you're
have to
driving
be.
a market
Yeah.
I'm
of
not
killing cows.
Look, here's the deal. I didn't go to the cow farm and kill the cow. The cow is
But
dead.
you're supplying money
Yeah,
for
some
your
cost.
industry.
Yeah,
It's
you're-
by proxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by proxy. If it was like babies that they were killing, if it was like people that they were killing, you'd be like, oh, you can't do that. You like,
I'm not gonna support that. But you're not gonna be like, oh, they're already dead.
Yeah.
I'm not proposing we eat humans.
All right.
To be
Well,
very
that's what
clear
I'm
to the
proposing.
listeners.
to be clear, that's what I'm proposing.
So, speaking of
Uh,
eating humans,
our-
Twilight.
Wait,
That's a pretty good
But
segue.
I want to hear how this turns in because I like the boldness of the.
Yeah, is
philosophical
this like a
plan.
mini episode series?
But
Is
does
it
it,
a
I want to see
documentary?
how do you make it fashion? How do you make it?
All right, Tim Gunn.
How do you make
like-
it? How do you make it cinema?
well, it's for me at least. It's all about starting the conversation, right? I mean, until we start talking about bacteria and protecting them and their rights and that they matter, nothing good will come. So that's really the beginning phase here. We have a bunch of episodes. We do a grassroots movement with my fellow conservatives. We do, a bunch of policy brainstorming sessions. We start to talk to doctors about why they're committing genocide, stuff like this. It's all about the conversation. And then, once people are more aware of the movement, then we reel them in.
All right. It sounds like Michael Scott's description of Michael Moore. Where he's like, you know what he does? He goes in and with a megaphone and he goes, "You are bad. You poisoned that river." I don't know.
This is exactly what Michael Moore does, famous documenter. And he goes up to people with a camera and he's like, "Why did you do this? Why did you pollute? You are bad. You're a bad person." It's very dramatic. Oh, I can't say I was a big fan of Bowling for Columbine, because I thought it was going to be a bowling movie, like Kingpin. And it wasn't. It was something else.
So Jordan's Michael Moore is essentially what you're...
I am okay
Yeah.
I will take up that mantle. That
How brave.
I thank you. Someone has to stand up for them. Might as well be me.
All right. Yeah, I like it. Critics might say that in calling it Bacteria Lives Matter, that's a little disparaging to the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm not saying that.
I'm saying that.
People may say that. Jesse's saying it.
The white girl in the room says that.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Michael. Oh wait, what's it called? Oh, it's called Bactericide or Bacteria Lives Matter.
We'll call it Bactericide.
Okay.
Bactericide. It's gonna be one smelly documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're sitting next to one future very smelly human.
Well, I mean, we are already kind of getting on that train, not for genocide reasons, but for I don't know. I feel like medicine is getting more and more realizing normal flora and not killing it off, and basically learning to live with bacteria instead of waging all-out war against them because they will inevitably win.
Are you saying I should just rub some dirt on it when someone comes into the hospital?
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Cool.
Yes.
So if I have a UTI, should I just shove a bunch of dirt in my vagina?
I'd say whether or not you have a UTI.
You should be back in the olden days when they used to put alligator poop
I'll make a mud
vagina?
dildo and then just see what happens.
Yeah.
Ska band name, Mud Dildo. You're right, 2019. Alright.
Alright, well, Jordan, that was a hot take. I think
That was a very hot take.
that is
It was a
an
fiery
opinion.
Yikes.
That is an opinion, I can say that.
That's quite the opinion. I really don't know how to transition from this, but
Twilight.
I think cannibalism was a
yeah.
good
So
transition.
speaking of eating people, I guess that is one of the main themes of this movie, Twilight. So I guess we'll do what we always do. We will go into our impressions.
Alright. Who wants to go first?
Me.
Yes.
So that was Bella, I assume.
I would say spot on.
Can I
Yeah, that was
segue
fun.
and say one of my
thought
notes that I said?
Yo, I thought that was just Nikhil behind every girl that he goes up to.
Why do you
Breathing
guys
deep.
Nikhil so much?
Nikhil Lives Matter.
Well, let's not get carried away.
No, but seriously, one of my first notes was in all caps, why does Kristen Stewart breathe and huff and snort so much? Who told her to deliver her lines like this, and who didn't correct her? Jesus Christ.
You got an impression?
Edward, no, you can't. I can't. No. Oh my God. I'm Bella, and I have dependent personality disorder. Oh my God.
Alright, T-Bags.
You said really well on the behavioral science show.
I feel like we're all just gonna do the Bella impression, am I right?
No, I'm gonna be. Alright, here we go.
Ooh, he's shaking his head.
Get into
What
it.
What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
You can't really hear it, but he gives looks off into the
Yeah,
distance when
they're
he's
stone
saying.
cold.
They're great.
They pierce your fucking soul.
I didn't even know, but my vagina's wet right now. I didn't know. Took me back to being 14. My turn?
Yeah.
Alright, see, I don't know, I feel like I can go with a lot of... I'm gonna change it up. I feel like I have the hair for it. Y'all can't
Do
see
it,
it,
do it,
'cause
do it.
you're hearing this, but, can you hold my beer?
Yeah.
So I gotta do the middle part, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Bella. We haven't seen each other since when we were kids. Do you like your new red car? Please fuck me.
That's actually really
Is that
good.
the one?
Yeah, that was
My,
shit a lot nerdy.
Team Jacob all the way.
Team Jacob.
So, ratings. So what do we rate this movie?
I can
So I
go.
think we should just do ratings first, and then we'll...
Yeah, I'll do ratings. I give it a 5.5.
Wow.
Ten.
Okay.
Reasons being, so I'll start with the good stuff. It's the chemistry between Kristen. Everybody shits on it, and it's oh, Twilight, whatever. And there was that meme for a long time of still a better love story than Twilight, whatever. Twilight, for all its faults, is a good love story. Edward and Bella wise.
This is a hot take.
Okay, I don't know. For the record, I have not read any of the books. I have not seen any of the sequels. I've just seen the film Twilight, 2008. Their relationship it's appealing, it's sexy, it's...
you feel like the chemistry is visceral.
The chemistry is visceral.
The way he almost vommed the first time he
looked
at her.
I'm saying, like, mistakes were made, alright? Mistakes were made. But, like, there's, like, the tension and the energy between them, like, if you don't get at least, like, a little half boner watching it, there's something wrong with you. There's something medically wrong with you.
Shima was just choked on her beer.
Yeah, so there's I think the chemistry is good, and it gets shit on, and it doesn't quite deserve to be. I thought the plot isn't even terrible. Like, I don't know, the plot makes sense. I don't know, people just like to shit on it, and there are a lot of things that don't deserve to be shat on. Also, keeping in mind that it's like a teen girl drama, it does a pretty good job of being accessible and sucking you in, even though it's like pretty.
See what you did there.
Like, it's hard to get me to care about the same thing that 13-year-old girls care about. And like, you can watch the movie, and like, even if you don't love it because there are so many cringy things about it, like, it sucks you in a little bit.
So, can I say something?
Yeah.
So I gave it a 4 out of 10, and I'll tell you why. I mean, a little less of a rating than you did, but when I analyze a movie, any movie, regardless of what it is, I have 3 kind of main criteria for it. One being, does it have a cohesive plot? Which I would say that this movie
I think it does, yeah.
It does have a cohesive plot. It could be its own standalone movie and make sense, right? 2, does it have a meaning, or meanings, for that matter? And that's, I think, where it kind of lacked for me. I didn't really understand the underlying, if there was a deeper underlying
It's the
message.
lion fell in love with the lamb.
Third thing was, does this movie fulfill its purpose? And that purpose is different for every movie, right? Every movie has its own specific purpose. And kind of going off what you were saying, Trev, just now, this is what I was thinking too, is this movie, and the books, for that matter, were made for this specific teenage girl demographic. That movie came out when that was targeted towards, girls like me and Jess at that time. 14-year-old girls who were horny and desperate and alone. And
whereas now, you're a 5-year-old girl.
I'm who's horny, desperate, and alone.
Yeah.
So it struck a chord with me at that time, and I would even admit a little bit now. And it did fulfill its purpose in providing that fantasy of, hey, here's this kind of tortured soul guy who is intelligent, good-looking, and mysterious, and look, he wants to be with you. And I think this goes off the theme of what we've talked about with other, sagas and trilogies, like The Matrix and Harry Potter. The main character has to be this sort of blank slate, boring person that you can then insert yourself onto.
Yeah.
If they're
I
anything
agree.
other than that,
Into, in your case.
if they're anything other than that, then, if they're anything kind of eccentric, you can't relate to them as much. See, the Bella Swan, as boring and weird and bland as she is, it works because she works for the everyday girl.
Right.
And now I can relate to people that eat other humans.
Yeah.
Well, but I really agree with you in that, like, Bella is, like, every girl at that age who, like, thinks there's something special about you, but, like, no one recognizes it. And, of course, like, this gorgeous, like, guy that comes into your life and, like, recognizes why you're special
Right.
and all of that stuff. And I think that's what, like, every 13, 14-year-old girl wants, is, like, to feel special. And I feel like they emphasize it a lot more in the book. Bella's just like, I don't get why he's into me. And I'm like, yeah, me either, girl. Like,
I don't get why any guy in her fucking
No, that's because of her scent. She had the...
No, but
She's,
every normal guy in her
Yeah.
class wanted to fuck
Okay,
her. I
also,
didn't understand
that
why.
brings me to my next point, because I'm still justifying my rating. So, those were the things that I liked about it. Another thing, Kristen Stewart is underrated, I believe. She is kind of she's a good actress. She's a really good actress. But in that movie, especially in the first third of that movie, maybe the first half, she's, like, fucking terrible. But I think she's a good actress. I think just like whoever was directing her was just like, no, you need to bite your lip more. Okay, breathe heavier. Okay, look around and bite your lip again. Okay, now breathe more. Now talk like you don't know how to speak English. And just like,
Yeah.
shit like
No,
that.
I agree. Like, that's...
This is actually not that hot of a take. People seem to be jumping on this bandwagon pretty frequently that Kristen Stewart actually isn't a bad actress. And I'm not saying she is or isn't, but I only know her in these movies, probably Adventureland, and then, I mean, honestly, I could probably count the amount of movies I know of that she's in on, like, one hand. What is she good in?
I just saw
I'm
I
thinking-
just
I
saw
listen,
a
it's
movie
just a
with
tape.
her and Nicholas Hoult.
Yes,
Did you
that's
watch
the one I
that?
was gonna talk
But
about.
here's the thing, she's really good at playing herself.
Yeah.
But does that make you a good actress?
No. And see, I would argue that same thing with like a Keanu Reeves. Because depending on what role he's in, he's not...
Right.
He does really good in the stoic, kind of like serious...
I'm a
action
fuck you
role.
up.
Keanu's on his own stratosphere. Let's not.
Well, I'm not Keanu's different. I mean, but I'm saying, like, he's not... Those are the actors. They're not chameleons. They can't. They're not the
Yeah.
Meryl Streeps. They're not the
Right,
De
right,
Niro's
right.
where they
Sure.
can completely transform themselves into any role. They're good in specific roles because of the personality that they
Yeah,
have.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Before I give my rating for this movie, I want you all to give
You want me
your...
to finish my rating?
Yeah,
Sorry,
why
Trevor.
don't you take another hour?
Okay. Oh shit! Okay, alright, fuck, alright. Oh shit. Well, you guys were... okay, first of all, it's not like I've been, like, chatting this whole time. Like, you guys are unpacking things I'm saying. This movie loses 2 entire points for Hold On, Spider Monkey.
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
We're not talking about the nice kitty line when Carlisle says
Oh,
that to
yeah.
Rosalie. Fucking creepy. Alright, anyway, continue.
Yeah. Actually, that's pretty much it. The only other thing is... Well, there's one more thing, which is... I'm from Washington, which is where the book takes place. And it was actually really nostalgic for me. I felt like when it came out, people in Washington were like, oh, whatever. Because like, if a really popular movie comes out about where you're from, you just have to like shit on it just to like feel cooler about yourself. But being from Washington, loving Washington, and then not being there for a few years, I really miss it. So like, I'm really homesick. So just like seeing it, I actually felt like it gave a pretty accurate depiction of what Washington is like. And also, I feel like they paid homage to it in ways like the dad was drinking Rainier like all the time, which is like that's the fucking beer over
Dude,
there.
if that's what
Dude, I
Washington
was
is...
watching this with Trevor and Rhodes, and I remember when the La Push scene came on, where they were all at the beach. He's like, "Oh my God, La Push!"
Yeah.
Push,
If that's what Washington is like, then why the fuck does everyone want to move to Seattle?
Well, okay, well that's not Seattle.
Just
That's
a bunch
the,
of like
that's the
middle-aged alcoholics slowly dying.
That's the Olympic Peninsula. Also, okay, so we would go. My friends and I would go on like a road trip every year, and we would go to the Olympic Peninsula, and we go through Forks. Forks is the most depressing place you will ever be. Like you drive through, it's like one road, and there's just like one grocery store where you can stock up on like snacks and firewood on your way out to like
What
the
about all
campgrounds
that
out
like
there.
beautiful nature that was in the movie? Like all that.
Oh, the
forest?
beautiful nature is everywhere. Also, like, none of that is CGI or, like, elsewhere. Like, that's all the Olympic rainforest, and it's fucking beautiful. But, like, the town of Forks itself makes you want to kill yourself because you just, like, drive through. There's, like, one grocery store and then just signs everywhere for, like, Twilight tours. And it's just, like, these, like, homemade, like, hand-painted signs. They're just, like, Twilight tour, $5! And it's like, oh, God, like, this is everyone's livelihood now. Like, I don't know. I feel like their relationship with the film Twilight is just like the saddest thing. But anyway,
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, you gotta. Everybody's got grind.
I had a revelation while watching this movie for the second time as an adult. And I said this to Trevor as we were watching it. I know I'm a grown woman now because when I first watched this movie as a 14-year-old, I was all like, "Oh, I want to have sex with Edward. I want to have sex with Jacob. They're so hot." Now I watch this movie, and I'm like, "Yo, I want to fuck the dads."
Yeah. Dude, Billy Burke is like low-key
Billy
damn
Burke,
hot.
fucking Peter Facinelli. Carlisle is a snack and a half.
Yeah, okay,
and
when
everyone's
his hair's not bleach blonde done.
I mean, no, but
blonde.
Peter Facinelli is a handsome guy. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing
So that really made me realize I've come into my own. And
You're a woman now. that's why I gave it a 5.5. Sorry I took up your precious time.
Well, I was interested. I was interested in asking what you guys thought
Your
about
turn.
what Kristen Stewart would be on a scale of 1 to 10.
Like attractiveness?
You guys, you guys.
Oh well, you know what I'm gonna
Oh, yeah.
fucking say.
It's the three of you, and it's important.
Can I put a bag on her head?
Whoa! Put respect on her fucking
See, this is exactly what the fuck I was saying while I was. This is exactly my point. I don't get why all these guys in her class were all up in arms about.
Are you okay? First of all, you've never been to Forks. Forks has what she says it at the beginning. Dude, a population of like
her
3,000.
two other friends were also cute, and they were like minus Anna Kendrick.
Her friend is
But we
Anna
don't get-
That one
Kendrick.
friend, the Dr. Michael Welch guy. He is fucking weird looking.
No,
His
he
skin
was
is
cute,
bad.
But like everyone wanted to like date her, go out with her, or whatever. They were all like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Bella, you're the new girl, you're hot." You want my rating?
No.
Rate.
Bitch,
Rate?
Rate.
Am I rating Bella or Kristen Stewart?
Bella, I guess.
3 out of 10.
2.
Whoa, oh my god. Jesus Christ, you guys are so...
No.
You
So
guys
here's
have-
the thing.
You guys
They-
have worms in your brain.
Straight up
Here's the
dishonest.
thing.
You guys
They
have
put-
fucking
Dishonest.
worms in your
No.
brain.
Okay, I would rate Kristen Stewart like a 7 out of 10. But like they put makeup on her in the movie to make her
I
eyes
know
look
she
sunken.
looks anemic, but like
yeah,
still.
like oh.
It's not
Okay,
even
Jordan.
that.
Now I know what
I'm
your
sorry,
tastes
she
are.
just looks
Like
she just looks like an average everyday bitch. I don't get what the big deal. Like she wasn't some beautiful like fucking ethereal.
Dude, Bella's for sure a 7 at minimum.
Dude, solid fucking 8, honestly. And like... And that's like on the...
she's a plank.
Dude, she's so
She's
bland.
like, if
There's
You guys can go
nothing.
fuck yourselves. Alright, whatever, dude.
No, that
Sorry.
didn't go the way
I
I thought it
think
would.
Kristen Stewart is beautiful. I think Bella Swan is unattractive because they wanted her to look like she was in.
How do you drop from a 7 to a 3?
I swear to God,
That's-
she's an 8 out of
It's
10
the
on
person.
like
Makeup,
movie
man,
star
makeup.
scale. On real person scale, she's walked in here, I'd be like 10. Like,
Okay,
fuck, you guys
dude.
can.
Sit your ass
Yeah,
down.
I'm not sure I'm quite there.
I
There's
disagree.
everyday.
8 out of 10 on
There's people in
movie
our
star scale.
fucking class who I can name who are way better looking than that bitch.
Yeah.
Alright, well, if you're gonna hit on me, don't do it on the podcast.
Dude,
Forever
she's
modest.
you're hyperbolizing. She's not a fucking 10 out of 10 in any fucking
If
situation.
she in real life, whatever.
No,
Alright.
whatever.
I don't think so. I think she would look gaunt, and I think she would be.
I don't think she's
so
anything
skinny.
special.
Dude, 3 and 2 is just dishonest.
You
Come
guys are
on.
fucking
But
That's-
No, I'm not
You
kidding.
wanted
They
my
like
answer, that's
they
not fucking
put
Fair enough.
they
I
put
want
makeup
you
on
to
her that makes
give
her
it
look
the right
unattractive.
answer. Okay.
Fair enough.
Alright, so Jordan, your rating, not of Kristen Stewart,
Of
nor
the
of
film.
Bella, but of the film.
The film was only a 9 out of 10 because there was
What's happening to you?
there was no
Were
sex.
you like hypnotized by Bella Swan?
They have a
Like,
love story and there's no sex. What's the deal with that?
because Stephanie Meyer's a Mormon.
Wait,
She
wait,
is.
that's why?
Yeah,
That's
dude.
why they
Wait,
don't
that's
have.
why
That's
they-
that's
that's
why
why
in the book they
Yeah.
don't have sex until they're married.
Even in the
What?
movies.
Then why are they
Yes.
holding
But there are
hands? That's
vampires
illegal.
that kill people!
Where is Edward Cullen's tie? Why isn't he called Elder
I
Cullen?
don't know. Because Stephanie Meyer had a sex dream about a sparkly
We
guy
need to
in a
bring the
field,
good-
and Twilight was born.
The good word of Joseph Smith.
No, God.
You didn't know she was Mormon?
No, I didn't.
Oh well.
Why-
This brings
Today
so
you
many
learned.
angles to the movie. They could go search for the golden plates.
So, I actually this was an interesting observation that I had, was as shitty as this movie is, and I would say the whole saga, say what you want about it, they all have an amazing soundtrack.
Oh, okay, so
The music
when we
in those
when we
movies
get
were-
to mine,
Okay.
I will
like
talk
the
about.
fact that they were able to get Radiohead.
Yeah, how did they
to
convince
okay
Radiohead?
putting 15 Step in
Yeah,
the credits,
no
that
kidding.
like
I don't-
blows my
I don't-
fucking mind.
That-
So-
that's
Wait,
wild.
why? Tom York doesn't even want to be in the like Hall of
That's
Fame.
what I'm saying. Like he's like, no.
Twilight.
Put me in Twilight.
Is Tom York a Mormon?
The only other movie where I heard Radiohead music being used in the score was A Scanner Darkly, and that was like a very like niche indie movie
I was gonna say I don't know.
from like 2000. It had actually a pretty like legit cast. It was Robert Downey Jr., Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, but it was like kind of this like
Lit.
sci-fi indie movie.
Dude, Tom York thinks that Jesus was born in upstate New York.
Does he really?
You can't
No,
prove
but that's
it.
what Mormons
just the
think.
teaching of the Mormon Church.
So
If Tom York believes it, I believe it.
So I could see
Tom York
I
is
could
my
see
god.
Tom York being like putting the okay on that because it's this like artsy indie film.
Yeah.
But, like fucking Twilight, like.
Do you want to? I bet you like he made millions of dollars off that.
Or
Well,
was
like
just
Radiohead already
Yeah,
makes
they don't
millions
care
of dollars. It's
about
not like
it.
Yeah, I
a
don't
issue
know.
for them.
That's
Okay, so
They were
my,
finished selling out after OK Computer.
So my
Love
Guys.
that album.
Guys.
Love that album. Don't get me wrong, it's my favorite album by them,
Alright,
but
guys.
it's a more mainstream
Okay.
audience.
Alright.
Come on.
easy,
Okay.
easy.
Yeah, relax. Relax, everybody.
My 2 cents on the soundtrack. Great soundtrack if you were to just like buy the CD of it and pop it in your car or whatever. I felt like they would put songs in the wrong places. Sometimes, like when I just like watching the movie, some scene would be going on, and then you'd hear like this little acoustic guitar riff in the background, and you're just like, that's not congruent with the mood of this scene. Like what you.
Are you talking about the cafe scene because that was Robert Pattinson singing and they just wanted to like put that in because it was Robert Pattinson.
It was a lot. It was most of the movie, except for the baseball scene when they did Supermassive Black Hole. That was fucking lit. I don't
I
don't care.
Muse.
That was like the cheesiest part of the movie,
But, it was
but also like I was so down with it.
But
It
like,
was just like
if the whole movie was like that, it'd be such a better movie, you know?
Yeah,
Because
it's
it's like
just so-
honest about what it is, you
yeah.
know?
But it's just god.
Is it as incongruent as in The Room when he talks about murdering the girl on Guerrero Street and he goes, ha ha ha, what a great story, Mom.
It's basically like that.
I used to know a girl. She had a dozen guys. One of them found out about it, beat her up so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street.
What a story, Mark.
Oh my god. I'm just realizing how much makes sense now.
Yeah. What?
Bella wants to have sex with Edward in her room and then he jumps off because he's a Mormon.
No, he jumps
He
off
doesn't-
because he can't handle. He's scared he's gonna like.
That's a perfect cover.
Well,
Like,
he's
he's also
scared
really
he's gonna
strong.
kill her.
Yeah, he's really strong.
And
Because in the later movies, when they do have sex, he like they legitimately break the bed.
they break the
because
bed. He like has to bite pillows and Bella wakes up like covered in like feathers
That's
and
not
shit.
sex I want.
Right? I want to break beds.
Probably because Mormons don't know how to have sex.
No, he just got real.
Or because they have to wait
got
till they're
strong
married
dick.
and then they got.
Well, yeah,
then they're
they
stuck
they
in
make
it.
it all like.
I mean, that's part of why they get married at age 17.
Well, I like in Breaking Dawn, they actually like Anna Kendrick like makes a joke like, how far along do you think she is? Because like, why else would you get married at like 18 years old?
True.
Like,
True. I mean, she's like the girl that I make fun of from high school who got married right after
Yeah.
high school.
right.
And then is now a part of a pyramid
Ooh.
scheme.
Part of the reason the movie is a 9 and not a 10 for me
Mm-hmm.
is because for some, who knows why, reason, the dude, I think it's Dr. Michael Welsh, decides that he's after Bella when Anna Kendrick wants to bang. What's the deal with that? He's like,
Oh, yeah.
she's the consolation prize.
You know what?
Are you
Okay.
serious?
No, I
I'm
agree
a
with
big.
that.
I'm a
I
big,
know how you feel about Anna Kendrick, Shima, but the rest of the world.
Okay, we're gonna do an embargo on debates about Anna Kendrick because this will be explosive. But I'm a big Anna Kendrick fan.
I love Anna
huge
Kendrick.
huge AK fan. Thanks. But in this movie in particular, Kristen Stewart is hotter than Anna Kendrick.
Oh.
In this movie, in
Alright,
particular.
even I
In this
wouldn't say that.
movie-
Bruh, even I wouldn't say that, and I think Anna Kendrick looks like a fucking toe. Okay? Dude, that's saying a lot.
That's wrong, but so is what you said.
I so disagree.
In this movie
Okay,
in particular. but Anna
everyone's
Kendrick's
like,
fun as
oh,
fuck.
Anna Kendrick. No one talks about the other friend, fucking Susie Crabgrass from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, who's also in this movie.
The really, really skinny one?
The one who like wears the glasses. I
Yeah,
think she's
Angela.
so cute,
She's
dude.
cute.
She's
Probably
the
because she
cutest
looks like
one.
nothing
She's
next to
cute,
Anna
but
Kendrick.
she's like.
Dude, she's
Like, you
cuter
know
than
that
all of
that
them.
scene where like it's sunny out and Andrew Kendrick's just like wearing that like
Are
that
you
tank
kidding
top
me?
and you're just
Yeah.
like boobs like
No, Anna
Yeah.
Kendrick is
Yeah.
fine. Never
Yeah.
never think I'm saying anything different. Ever.
Her face is too pointed.
Ever. But yeah, no, Susie Crabgrass.
But Susie Crabgrass
she's
is
cute,
the
but she's
cutest
like
one out of
she
all
looks
of
like
them.
way more like a little kid. Like she's cute in like.
I think Susie Crabgrass is beautiful.
she's beautiful.
She's the pretty
I'm
one
not
to
saying
me.
she's not.
We should move on.
She's cute. She's cute in like your coworker is like, oh yeah, that's my like daughter. She's in middle school. Like, isn't she cute? Oh
She's
yeah,
the
she's
same
cute.
age as
But
all
she's
of
not
them.
like cute. Like
No,
she's
she
like
is, dude. If
I
you're
don't
gonna,
know.
no.
All right.
I think
She's
it's
nerdy
time to hear what our guest has to say.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
our
for
honored
expertise.
guest.
All right, before I tell you my rating, I'm gonna tell you good things about Twilight because I want to start on a positive note.
You're telling me you didn't rate it 9?
No. I have 2.5 good things about Twilight.
Okay.
Okay, first one, Anna Kendrick as Jessica was perfect casting. Just
That's
great.
true.
Just so great. So sarcastic, and she's like my self-insert into this novel.
Don't
Like
insult
just
yourself like that.
Oh.
Stop. Move
Just
on. Move on.
all right.
Move on.
Anyway,
Move on.
okay. Other one, Billy Burke as Charlie.
Yeah.
Also great. Like he's just that person that calls out like how awkward this movie is the entire time. Just so great. And then the soundtrack gets half a point because it's a great soundtrack, but it wants to be really dark and edgy, but like it forgets that this is a movie about sparkling vampires. So that's my hot take. Those are good things, but I would rate this movie 3 out of 10. Yeah, just because like it's one of those movies where you can tell that like the actors had one idea, the director had another idea, and the scriptwriters had another idea, and it's just so incongruent. And you can tell in every scene that like the actors had an idea about what they wanted to do, but the director was like, no, do it this way. And then the script is just so awkward, like everyone's just trying really hard to interpret it and they just can't do it because it just doesn't make any sense.
You think
I agree with
Bella
that.
wanted to cough less?
I
agree with that, especially, well, like, if I were to watch the first 40 minutes of this movie and then give it a rating, I would probably say everything you just said.
Yeah.
Because, like, just, like, the beginning is just off. And when Bella first shows up, the voiceover at the beginning, cheesy as all hell.
Right.
When she, like, first shows up and meets Edward,
Oh,
it's
dude,
just like,
and I don't think we talk about the cutaway scenes. You know how they do the cutaway scenes?
Yeah.
Where it's like Edward's talking about his past and then
Yeah.
it like cuts to him being like an evil vampire in like the 1900s.
Yeah.
Or like or every time Bella's talking about her relationship with Edward and it cuts back to a scene that we just saw like 20 minutes ago.
Those were awful. Especially, like, someone just, like, said werewolves or whatever, and then it, like, cuts to this scene of, like, wolves going to the forest. And I, like, in Rose, I just laughed and shouted. I was like, thanks, I didn't know what a fucking wolf looked like.
Can I just wait, because I know we haven't gotten here yet, but you said that if I had watched the first half, I agree with you. So that's ignoring the second half, where I thought the entire fucking thing was the dude with the ponytail just hissing the whole time.
Okay, that was a note I had. Why do vampires hiss? And, like, here's the thing. Like, this is not Edward. Like the whole Cullen clan hiss.
No,
but,
they
like,
did at the
this is-
baseball game.
they're
They
like-
all kissed each
Like,
other.
this is not the first movie that vampires hiss in. Like Queen of the Damned,
Vampires
they
hiss.
hiss. Like,
Oh,
why?
yeah.
But like,
Well,
why? Are they
I
cats?
have
How many
personal
vampires?
experiences.
How many vampires have you met?
I have a story. So I went to Amsterdam last year, and me and my friend went to, we were being super touristy, we went to the I Am Amsterdam sign to take pics, and I guess we were standing in the way of this one couple, this guy, they were like kind of those like goth couples with like the tattoos and the piercings and everything, and so I guess we were standing in the way of their picture, and the guy, he was one of those people who like does like the body mods, and so he had like his like tongue was split in half, and he had he like shaves his teeth to like be really sharp or whatever. And I remember he looked at me, and instead of being like, "Oh, ma'am, would you, be as kind as to perhaps move to the side?" He looks at me and goes, and so.
But that's from watching vampire movies where vampires hiss. Like,
And
who
so
started
I
that?
stood there,
Well-
like.
So I'm interpreting what you just said as one pasty dude from Amsterdam hissed at you, and you disparaging people from Amsterdam calling them vampires.
Yes.
He was like trying to be a vampire. He had the whole look, like he had the fucking sharp teeth, like I think that's what he was going for.
I think part of it probably comes from, like, vampires and bats are very closely associated.
Do bats hiss?
I don't know, but I could
They
picture
kinda
them.
do.
I could picture them hissing.
They use
think
sonic
they make- I don't
noise.
think
I
they
don't
make-
think
If you were
they
like make a bat noise, I would be as likely as anything.
It's
just
more
going,
like
If you told me to make a bat noise, it would be Rachel.
Where are the drugs?
Where are they?
Where is it?
That's my bat noise.
Any other
What's
stuff?
that?
Oh God, I have so many notes.
I appreciate that. Coming prepared.
I did. Just like, okay, I'm interested to hear your guys' take on the movie because, like, to me, rewatching it, like, there's so many just sporadic lines from the book that are just thrown in ways that, like, don't make sense. And I'm like, if I hadn't read the book, I'd be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, this dialogue doesn't actually follow, like, normal people talking.
I felt that way a lot, because I haven't read the book. And I commented to Shima earlier, it felt like... I got mad at why Edward kept talking in, like, stupid poetry talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, instead of just being like, oh, you know, Bella, you know, I know that we had a lot of feelings between us, but, like, listen, I'm not that great of a dude. I've like, done things that I'm really not proud of. He could have said that, but instead, she goes, your skin is beautiful. And he goes, this is the skin of a killer.
Skin of a killer, Bella.
Can we talk about that? How it shimmers like
Here's the thing.
diamonds?
My biggest issue with Edward, despite all the weird vampire shit, mythology, whatever they place on him,
Cold ones.
this was my issue with
It's a
Edward as a
Budweiser
character.
ad.
This is my issue with Edward. So good. My issue with Edward as a character boils down to this. Homie was so just like wishy-washy with how he was like feeling for this girl. Like literally
Your
one
mood
minute.
swings are giving me whiplash.
Yeah, literally. Like 1 minute he was like, "Oh, like you can't come near me. I'm dangerous." Like, bleh. And then 1 minute he was like, "Oh, like watching her while she fucking sleeps." Like, bitch, pick a fucking side.
I don't know. I think that plays into the, like, he knows he's no good for her, but then it's like the forbidden
But
fruit
here's my
tastes the
thing, dude.
sweetest, and
No,
he's
no,
like,
no.
now
That's
I
some
want you
bullshit.
even
Like,
more.
okay, like I get he's supposed to be like, you know, quote unquote 17. But dude's like what, 118 years old?
Oh, that is
He's
such a
17
He's
years
like
That's a good
70.
point.
You know what I mean?
Homie's
Like, dude, you should
100
have
something
the,
hitting
you
on a
should have, like,
16-year-old.
the wisdom and the maturity to not be a little piece of shit.
To not be a
And you're telling
statutory
me-
rapist.
And you're telling me in these 117 years you've been alive, you haven't had a similar situation with somebody, like a similar lover, or
Well,
like...
so like
Bella
here's
is.
the thing in the book, they kind of talk about it as like vampires like mate for life for whatever reason, and he just like hadn't found that person, and like that's why Rosalie's such a bitch, because like at first like she thought her and Edward were gonna be a thing, and then they weren't, so she's like super jealous of Bella even though like she has Emmett. But it's just like a weird thing where he's like, I haven't met the one, I have to meet this like special
In
girl,
the
and like for
books-
some reason it's Bella.
In the books, do they discuss that he's committing statutory rape?
No.
Well, hold on.
Straight
Well,
up.
so well,
Let me-
but like they
well,
get
first
they,
let me
well, they
open a
get
private
married.
browser.
Actually,
and then
what
look
is
up what, and then look up what the age of consent is in Washington.
Well, but they don't actually have sex until they're married when they're both 18.
Oh, yeah,
when
actually,
she's
so it's not gonna
when
make
she's
sense.
18.
Okay.
For the record, Trevor's actually looking it up.
I was, but it
brings
doesn't
it-
matter because they're married.
He just brings an underage girl into his room alone, and it's fine. But they don't do anything.
Well, yeah, but
Thanks,
he's
Roy.
concerned about destroying her
Actually,
soul,
yeah,
so
time
he won't
out.
fuck her.
What does he care about the law? He'll just go and eat the policeman.
Yeah, also these people are like they're vampires. And
Right.
They're like,
Here's my answer. Like, why are they in school?
So
like,
this is the
you can why
Yeah,
are they
just
homeschool?
don't
Like,
be in
what?
school.
This wasn't even. So you know how they have to keep moving because people will like know who they are.
You're 100. You know how to do fractions.
Well, like they even like in the book they talk about how boring it is for them because like they know all the answers. Like they all have like PhDs and like MDs. Like they're
that's
all
why
very
everyone's like,
smart.
oh, let me see, anaphase.
Here's my thing. Why do they live in bumfuck nowhere where the population's like 1,000?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's cloudy.
Because it's cloudy, bro.
I get that, but move to like, I don't know, more metropolitan area where you can blend in a little bit.
No,
move
but, like,
to fucking London. Like, move
No,
anywhere.
but those places
Go
are
to
just cloudy.
Newcastle.
Like,
It never
no,
fucking.
No, the Olympic Peninsula is like an actual rainforest. Like it's super.
Dude,
cloudy.
London rains all the fucking time.
Yeah, but there's a difference between rains all the fucking time and an actual rainforest.
I think you underestimate how
My power.
pale I got when I lived in Newcastle, England, which is basically Scotland. There was no sun.
Well, there's probably a lot of vampires there. I don't know.
Maybe.
So I'm just saying, like,
They just don't want drunk.
that's like stupid on their part. And then they go to school
Wait,
where they're just showing their faces.
Wait, Shima, I know something. She goes in the internet. I know it because she went to search cold one, and then I was like beer. There's like a bunch of places that were there, like Egypt and a bunch of other countries. So there are vampires in multiple places.
There are, which you see in,
Confirmed
in Breaking
by the
Dawn,
master.
and they all have these like special powers.
Boom,
and
mic
shit.
drop.
Can I be one of the Middle Eastern vampires then?
That'd be dope.
I'd be like, Bismillah
What else you got?
What else do I have? Oh man. I don't. Bella sucks as a character. Like they totally like they kind of played up this part in the movie where she basically like shamelessly flirts with Jacob to like get information out of him, and like in the book it's way worse because he's like a 15-year-old and she's like 17, and they're like at this bonfire, and she just like is like, oh, this kid has information and I know he has a crush on me, so I'm gonna flirt with him and get this information out of him. Like
And
So
even
was
though
there
I don't.
ever an actual like love triangle between
Oh yeah,
That
for sure,
comes
but like
up in
that's
the later
later.
movies,
yeah.
But like.
Team Jake
It's just
Holloway.
like she's just a shitty person. Like who does that to someone? Like
She does, because she wants that Edward D, and she's gonna do what she gotta do
yeah.
I
to
don't know
get there.
why the hell she chooses anemia over
Here's
Taylor
my
Lautner.
that's the thing, and that's something
Because
that's
it's Taylor Lautner with a wig.
no. But then New Moon comes along, and you get haircut, 6-pack abs, shirtless, and he's warm. And he comes up, and he can climb up through her window, and he's like,
Shark Boy.
and he comes like all sexy up to her face, and goes like, "Hey Bella," and then she's like, "I can't."
Do you like how in that scene she like puts her like fist on his like abs and she's like, oh,
Yeah,
no, I
yeah,
can't,
dude.
but I want it.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
So weird.
That was the first time I felt things in my vagina that I didn't know I could feel.
Thanks for that info.
I was like, oh.
Wait, what did you say? What?
I was like, oh. I'm horny now. Stop being horny.
That's my,
No, that was
I'm gonna
me.
crop that out. That's gonna be every time I get a text, it's gonna come.
Nah, for me that was watching The Tudors and Henry Cavill.
Oh, bitch. Do not.
Did you know Henry Cavill
Was the first choice
was the
to play
first choice to
Edward.
play Edward?
That is true.
I
That's a
know.
fact.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
thought that
this
was
is
gonna
like
be
really
like-
He was
embarrassing,
too
and
old.
Thank
I
God for
should
his
not
career
I
he
should not
didn't.
disclose this. I like my friends and I made like posters of like who we wanted to play Edward, and like Henry Cavill was definitely on my
That's
list.
Good
amazing.
choice, bitch. That's a solid
That's
choice.
so thought out.
That's incredible.
There's, like, a lot.
I can top you, bitch. So my Taylor Lautner obsession was so intense that I used to bring pictures of him to the opening screenings that I used to go to for the movies, and every scene he wasn't in, I would just stare at the picture. And then top it off, I had a Jacob New Moon poster that I got for my 16th birthday that I taped in the inside of my closet, because if it was
great.
outside, my dad would see it and call me a whore for liking boys. And so I kept it in the inside, and every night before I went to bed, I'd just give it a little smooch, just so you knew.
That's so cute.
We need to crop that soundbite.
See, I feel like I feel like you guys gave the movie lower rankings because you had it as an actual pleasure, and so like you have to be like, oh, that was such a guilty pleasure, and so now you're like, fuck this movie.
What is
I'm
this?
like, I don't want.
Is this a type of reaction
Yeah, you-
formation?
Yeah, that's a reaction for you.
You gotta keep it down so you feel better about yourself.
Also,
No,
I
I
love
just
that.
I feel like I have to rate it poorly because of like everything I
Just
know
how
with like
bad it was.
the director and the script and everything, and then like the fact that like they actually have an abusive relationship. Like I can't rate it high
Right.
if like you're checking off boxes where like this is for some reason what girls aspire to have in a relationship, and it's so obsessive and just not healthy, and I just like can't support it.
The scene that I think was the worst, I would say, in the whole movie.
Hang on, Spider Monkey.
No.
Okay.
It's not even that.
'Cause
To
that was
me,
fucking
the
terrible.
worst scene was when she meets him, when they're lab partners for the first time, and she's walking in, and the look on his face is like someone just took the biggest
pukes.
shit.
I mean, this whole movie is people trying to hold in poops.
It was
Like-
it was overacted.
It
That
was-
the
it was
whole, like,
overacted,
if
and
I
it
could
was-
describe it in one word, it was overacted.
If you took out all the stares, just all the scenes where people are staring at each other,
And just,
there
like,
would only be-
90%.
there would only be like 10 minutes left in the movie. Like, it was just too many stares, too much like drama, like of just like, what's gonna happen next?
Okay, teen versions of you guys, adult versions of you guys, no matter what, was there any part of you at all that like thought it was at all attractive when they were sitting at the lab bench, and he gives her that long look that I feel like he's gonna kill her. But
no, that's the scene I'm talking about. That's the one I'm talking about.
Do you think that was attractive at all?
No, I thought it was creepy as fuck.
I would've-
thought it was creepy as fuck.
I would have punched him in the face.
Yeah.
He looked like he wanted to kill her.
If I'm a girl...
Well, I mean, but that's what it was supposed to be.
If I'm a girl
Well,
and this guy...
That's why I rated it
He's
9 out of
like,
10.
oh shit, like I've never, like her scent is like overwhelming, I'm gonna like fucking, like kill her and drink her blood, you know?
That was
So,
perfectly acted.
so Twilight, Stephanie Meyer actually like wrote half of a book of like Twilight from Edward's perspective.
I heard about that.
And that scene from his perspective is actually really interesting, like in like a sick kind of way, because he's literally just thinking about all the ways that he could kill her and kill everybody else in the room, like without anybody noticing.
I read that. Damn. I read that she like gave him the like first draft of that book so that he could like get in touch with that character.
Yeah.
I love that.
Also,
Method actor.
If you guys are ever like interested in watching something that's really hilarious on YouTube, like just Google like "no one hates Twilight more than Robert Pattinson" and like just watch all his interviews where he just like clearly hates like
should
Edward
also,
hates Twilight. Like he's like, I just played him like he was this like manic depressive like virgin 70-year-old, and that's what I did. Like,
for the listeners listening, the 2 listeners we have.
Both of them.
I think I'm your 3rd subscriber.
Oh hell yeah, dude! That means one of us
Yeah,
is
that's
even
me. I
subscribed.
probably haven't.
I did subscribe, so I'm one of them.
I had one medical comment about this movie
Oh, that's
where
what,
like
I mean, let's be
I mean,
real.
like,
the
in
only
like
people
a-
that are going to listen to this podcast are our friends who we like forced to listen to it, and all of them are like in med school, so they're familiar.
True.
So, like, you know that scene where, like, they pull up and, like, for some reason, like, Carlisle is, like, at the police department, and they're like, whoa, what's going on? And, like, they see Carlisle, and he's just like, I just examined the body. And I'm like,
yeah.
is he the
Is he-
forensic
is he-
pathologist, too? Like,
Yeah.
is he also the internist and the
So
forensic pathologist? Like,
Double
Me and
board
Trevor
certified.
talked about this while we were watching it. We're like, is he the only doctor in this town? Like,
Well, it is a small town, right?
It is.
but they have an entire hospital.
Wait, no, that was
Like,
probably
That's
in like Port Angeles.
maybe. I think you're trying to rationalize it.
Maybe. I'm really trying. Also, they bring her to the hospital. She didn't even get touched by the car, and they're like, "Take her to the fucking hospital." And then it's like, no, she was not involved in a trauma.
Here's
Sometimes they
another
do that for
loophole
emotional
for
trauma,
me. The
though.
part
Yeah.
where she needed to run away from the dude and she had to be an asshole to her dad and be like, you're like, okay, she went way too deep. Like, she could have just been like, I'm leaving, like, I don't want to be here, I'm just gonna take a few days. And her dad would have
That's
been
such
like,
a good point.
then her dad would have been like, oh, okay, I guess.
He would've
But
been like, "Don't
she had to be
leave."
like, you suck, and that's
Yeah.
why mom left you. Like
She
what
could have
the
just
fuck?
said, "I'm a 17-year-old and I have
Yeah.
hormones," and
Like,
then
she was
walked out
cutting,
the
like,
door.
some deep-ass wounds, and then,
So I'm
like,
saying Bella's a terrible
she's a
person.
fucking cunt, dude, and I'm like,
Shit, she
she's a cunt! I'm gonna say it! She was being a cunt. And then, like, the dad was being so nice to her the whole time, was, like, being so understanding that this creepy fucking guy was trying to take out his daughter. Like, just, like, doing everything he could for her. And then she's like, ugh, mom left you, you're a piece of shit. And then, like,
This dude with like sickle cell anemia shows up at the door like, I definitely
was
won't
like-
kill your daughter.
yeah. He's like, alright, whatever my daughter wants. That's how you know. That's like the definition of these are white people. 'Cause that shit would not fly in my fucking
You
house.
didn't like how he like cocked the shotgun, like bring him in. I like that part. I don't know. Thought it was
You
funny.
should have used it, dude. Should have fucking used the shotgun.
Well, it wouldn't have worked, right? So,
true.
I don't know. Also, I like how like in later movies, like they just become like these like weird glass like stones on the inside.
Yeah.
Where like they chop off their heads and it's just like shards of like glass.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
All right. All right. Good smooth transition here.
We all looked at you, bud.
Someone have another point that we'll bring up? Because if not, I have one. I think I understand the overall metaphor of Twilight, the sort of overarching thesis, if you will. So if you think about like, the romance between Edward and Bella, he has like such a strong desire to suck her blood and like kill her and check. Not to the joke yet.
There's a really serious point, and then like that comes up.
Suck her blood, like turn her into a vampire, and all that shit.
Yeah, he does.
But he's gotta fight that. He's gotta have that passion, and also be able to indulge that, and still be able to stop himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, otherwise he'll have serious consequences. But I think Twilight is just a metaphor for pulling out. I think it's a testament to
Are you saying Bella's dad should have pulled out?
No,
That's
I think.
what I think.
Well, I know that's what you think. But then we wouldn't have Kristen Stewart.
Yo, I have a bigger question. What does he do when she's on her period?
Oh,
Dude,
shit.
I thought about
dude.
that when I was reading it, and I was like, does he just like?
Man.
Does he
deal
just
with
like
it?
go nuts? Like
I don't know. They never talk
Does
about
she
it.
like leave her pads just like for snacks? Like, is she, like
No,
Here,
that'll
Edward, lick
sensitize him.
this.
He'll get the hunger.
Frank fed us human meat, and we got the hunger.
The hunger?
Mm-hmm. That's how you become a cannibal, D. Look, you get one taste of delicious, delicious human meat. None of this stuff ever satisfies you ever again for the rest of your life.
I just think that you're overreacting.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, that's
Really?
stupid.
Is that stupid? Oh, I'm sorry, D. Well, then I guess Jaws 4 is stupid, okay? Because that's the exact same plot.
or like
Except
so
that.
like yeah, what if she gets her period? What if she just accidentally gets like a paper cut and bleeds?
Well,
Or,
so
like,
that's like the
Isn't
whole
that-
plot of New Moon.
Yeah, that's true. There's that part where she cut herself.
Yeah, and then Jasper goes like, ah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and then he just like abandons her. Which, to be
Does she-
fair, from his perspective, is like, well, I should just not be in her life because I'm gonna kill her.
Does
so
she
like,
ever bang Taylor Lautner?
no, but she makes
Oh,
Unfortunately,
out
I
with
forgot
him.
it's a
She doesn't get
Mormon
married to
film.
They make
Yeah,
they
Mormon
make out
film.
once, and then he falls in love with their child.
Yeah, that's the part that's fucked up. So in the last one, in the last movie, when they're married and they have a baby, they have like a little hybrid
Talking
vampire
about-
baby
You're talking
Yeah.
about Edward
and Bella.
and Bella.
Yeah, they have this baby, and like the baby's like literally is still a baby, and there's a scene where, whatever, Jacob
yeah.
looks at the baby, and werewolves do this thing when they fall in love with, like, when they find their mate, they imprint on them, and that's like their mate for life kind of thing. And so he has a scene where he like looks at the baby, and then he like imprints on the
He
baby.
gives it Prater Willie.
It's actually
So
Engelman
ideal.
syndrome.
And then like, so baby, when the kid's like of age, they go fuck.
Yeah, they like try to make it not creepy in the
But it was
book, but like it's still creepy. But yeah, I mean, like there's like an overarching theme.
Here's another
in
thing.
this.
How does a vampire baby age?
So they figured that out in the last book. They found like a half vampire, half human, and they like reach maturity and they just like don't age anymore.
Oh, how fucking perfect. for
yeah,
them.
right. So convenient.
They get to sexual maturity, and then they get to stay young and
Young
hot
and
forever.
hot forever. Yeah, must be
Awesome.
nice. But yeah,
So
I
here's a bigger question. If you could be a vampire, if you could be immortal and turn into a vampire, would you?
hell yeah.
Can I, at some point, when I'm like really sick of being alive, can I like stab myself with a wooden stake or like chop my head off and burn myself?
Well, it depends on like what
If we
what,
say if
what
we
film saga you're in.
we're sticking to
We're in
Twilight, but I think like if
So in Twilight you can die.
But
so I'm
if
gonna do
the
that.
answer to that is yes, then that becomes a pretty easy proposition, right?
Right.
I mean,
And
you
hell
become
yeah,
the
brother.
vampire, like
Yeah.
you get superhuman
Yeah.
strength and you live
Yeah.
forever until
Yeah.
you don't want to. So
Exactly.
let's say for the purposes of this exercise, no, you have to live forever.
But they're like
Forever,
so cold and
forever,
dead.
ever. Then
Like
no.
like the Earth dies and I'm just still
Yeah,
floating.
no,
in
I don't want to
space.
be. I don't want to be floating in
No.
space.
See
No.
that?
Fuck that.
So then going off of that, what? So that's the thing. Edward acts like it's so bad of being a fucking vampire and like it's so shitty. But it's like you get to experience love, you get to experience knowledge, you get to experience family. Like what's so fucking bad about being a vampire?
In his
And
mind,
he has superpowers.
in his mind, he's damned when he dies. He's going to hell.
Well, it's just because he's Mormon.
They did not mention that. Oh, that's the Mormon kid.
No, that's what I'm
What
saying. When you read the book, it's very
what
obvious
if I'm
because
just an atheist and that's not an issue for me?
then I say, hell
Dude,
yeah, become a vampire.
Joseph Smith rules over you too, Shima.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Homie
well,
acts
but
like
that's,
it was like the
but
worst thing
that's
that
why
could happen.
that's why he won't have sex with her because he's like, I want to keep your soul intact
So,
as long as I
how does
can.
he get her pregnant? How does homie have sperm? That works.
Vampires
Girl,
are-
I don't know, man. They tried this whole thing and like
Are
the,
you saying that there's something about vampires that isn't strictly scientifically accurate. Is you trying to fucking
No,
tell
but
me
like
that right now?
she does. She
Also-
tries. She tries in the 4th book. She tries to explain that they have like 47 chromosomes.
So they have Klinefelter syndrome?
I guess, yeah. She's just like,
Uh,
they're like, oh yeah, we have more chromosomes. Like, that's why it's so painful, because we like transition to a different species. And I'm like, what?
That doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
No.
That raises
It just doesn't.
so many more
It
questions
just
than
doesn't.
answers.
I know.
Alright.
Do you
Yeah.
think their little sperm have like little bat wings? also, where's the bat connection? Like, aren't vampires supposed to be bats? Isn't the whole point of a vampire
Well,
like it came from the vampire
I mean,
bat?
that
depends
comes
on-
from like Dracula, like Bram Stoker.
The vampire myth has evolved in a lot, and there's like different cultures have different.
I know we're not talking about
interpretations
like Nosferatu here, but like still, isn't there supposed to be a bat connection?
of it. First, yeah, in the American mythos, but I think that's like the point is Stephanie Meyer like took it and was like, okay, I'm gonna take these things from the vampire thing, but then like make it how I want to make. I mean, it's like there
It's
are
like
a million.
you take vampires, but then you make it fashion.
It's like you take vampires and inject a little bit of upstate New York Jesus into it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's like there are a million
I
different.
love that she's Mormon. Explains everything.
It's like there are a million different things about like witches and wizards and stuff, but then J.K. Rowling got to like pick and choose what she wanted to be like canon in her.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone's gay.
Yeah. Dumbledore is taking PRP.
It's prep.
That was a tweet. I love that tweet. It was like,
Dumbledore's on prep.
it was like no one, and then it said J.K. Rowling, Dumbledore's on prep.
Oh my god.
I thought of another segment that I think we should maybe make a recurring thing here on Real Talk. So I thought of it because Twilight is a PG-13 movie, and if you don't know, PG-13 movies are allowed to have one instance of the F-bomb in them.
What?
I didn't know that.
Fuck.
I
So,
didn't know that.
Favorite word.
Favorite action.
Favorite
so I'd like
word.
to.
Guys, stay wholesome.
Sorry.
So I'd like to initiate a segment called the F-bomb, unless you guys think of a better name for it, where whenever we watch a PG-13 film, or I don't know, PG or G film, think of if you were gonna put in one F-bomb, where would you put it?
Oh, I like this.
Ooh.
Oh, I got it.
Alright.
Hold the fuck on, Spider Monkey.
Can I replace multiple? Like, can I replace one or two?
Oh, I got
Yeah,
another
three
one.
Because I've got it.
Yeah.
And so the lion fucked.
God damn it! That's what I was gonna say.
Except
So the
not.
line fucked the world.
Except not, because we're Mormons.
This is the skin of a fucking killer, Bella.
You got one?
You just took all the good ones. I was trying to think. Maybe just like somewhere super like nonchalant where like no one would expect it, and like Jacob just comes up, he's like, "Yeah, me and my buds, we're gonna take the van out to fucking La Push over there."
La Push. I'm thinking of like a French guy in a beret.
La
Push.
The part where she's about to go into, where she's like gonna go to dinner with him, and then her friends are there being like, "Oh Bella, like we're gonna go back home. What do you want to do?" And she's like, instead of being like, "Hey, oh, we're gonna go into the restaurant to get dinner," he's like, "Oh, we're gonna go into the restaurant to fuck."
Okay. Also, can I bring up one thing that?
Oh yeah.
made me mad? So when they were in the restaurant, and he's because Edward can like read minds, he's like,
It was
"Oh."
so annoying.
He's like, "Oh, I can read everyone's mind." This is like for me, this is one of like the cringiest like teen drama parts. He's like, "I can read everyone's mind." It's just that like that guy, money, sex. That girl, sex. I got money, sex. He's like, "But you're mine. I can't read yours." And it's just like,
She's probably thinking about sex.
yeah. Well, and it's just like you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
like okay. First of all, that's just such a like narcissistic thing of like everybody else likes to pursue these stupid dumb goals, but my feelings are really valid and I matter the most.
Especially,
I like when they go to the guy who's like cat,
there,
and he's like,
especially since he's there to fuck.
Yeah,
It's like, dude, what's wrong with thinking about money?
Yeah,
what's wrong
like,
with thinking about sex?
Like, those are, like, they're not the most important things in the world, but, like, you can definitely spend a lot of time thinking about those and live a very fulfilling life.
I think you guys are forgetting the Mormon perspective.
Yeah.
No, but
Stay
I don't
wholesome.
think it was necessarily like a Mormon thing as much as it was trying to be like, oh, these people and they're superficial, kind of like, you know.
They're not even fucking vampires.
Yeah, they're so
how can they be edgy if
superficial.
they
They
don't
just
drink
like
blood?
think about these like these like greed, you know, these like some temptuous, you know, whatever things.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's like
this whole movie is about teen angst, and it's like
Yeah.
feeling like you're the other, like you're more special than everybody else because like you're so much more mature than everybody your age, but really you just like you know you don't know what you're missing out.
Yeah.
not
Like,
special.
try some drugs, you'll like it.
And I think that's why it did strike such a chord with me at that age.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
I'm
like no one understands me.
I am so mature.
I'm like quirky and like no one.
I mean, I still get like once in a while I'll be like, oh, everyone sucks. I'm so unique, and then I'll be like, wait, no, shut up. You suck. Nobody cares about you.
Says the guy who got a portrait of himself.
That's a damn fine portrait, though.
It's a great
If you
pick.
can look me in the eye and tell me I don't look fine as fuck in that portrait, then I'll take it down. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have any other. I'm out of thoughts.
Let me consult my sheet.
Consult the sheet. What if I'm the bad guy?
Hazardous
Well, okay, like, that
material
whole-
spill, Green Bay and 29th, 1 mile radius.
What?
So very close to here.
Chemical
Oh,
spill?
what? Are we gonna die?
Should be close to window.
Are we gonna fucking die?
Material spill, Katie told me. Hazardous material spill, Green Bay and 29th Street, 1 mile radius. Where's Green?
29th? Where's that?
Where is that?
That
Are we gonna
sounds like
fucking die?
Waukegan.
Dude, I'm getting hepatic encephalopathy right now. I'm all out of
I mean,
money.
honestly, what are we gonna do at this point?
Die.
Go
outside and huff it.
There's 29th Street.
Dude, what if we can't leave and then we all just stay here and we have a slumber party?
Make 5 more podcasts tonight.
Yeah. It'd be like fucking new moon, eclipse, breaking down part 1.
Breaking down part 2.
You know what? At least I don't have to take a step though.
Should I like
Dude,
inhale a lot of it? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
That's what you were when you were asking if like I would want to be immortal. I'm like, damn, like I don't even want to be alive right now.
Dude, if I was immortal, I'd just like drop out of med school. And just
Oh,
like
100%.
I don't know,
Well,
start
I don't
like
know, that's what
scamming people.
That's what Daddy Cullen. He was like,
Daddy
Oh, he was
Daddy!
Called it already.
Daddy!
Okay, you know what? Okay, beef with his character a little bit though because he was like so pale and like ghostly looking, and it's like you can't wear a little bit of makeup. Like you're trying to be low key, like not like
Yeah, like get a spray tan.
He works
Yeah.
in a hospital
Like, that's-
with other physicians. The other physicians weren't concerned with how like sickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like what's your hemoglobin 4? Like goddamn.
Well, also the fact that like when they don't eat, like their eyes get like black. Like they go from like spectrum of like gold for whatever reason, I don't know why, to like black. And it's
Wait.
like you think people wouldn't notice that?
Yo, okay, here's something. Why do the vampires have to live in secret? Why can't they just be like, vampires are real and I'm one of them?
So people would be hella scared of them all the time.
I guess,
Yeah,
yeah.
they,
I'm not
like-
sa- I'm throwing it out
She tries to like talk about that plot hole in like the 4th book,
Why don't
where
they
like
just
the
follow?
Volturi come, like the vampire like
Black
royalty
Eyed
or
Peas,
whatever,
yeah.
Black Eyed Peas come.
Oh yeah, that was her nickname for Victoria,
James and
Laurent.
Laurent.
They
Yeah.
called them the Black
Speaking
Eyed
of-
Peas.
Why did that Victoria bitch just bail on her friend James? Like
she's
James,
alone.
Well, because they're like
he went to go like kill Edward. Obviously, they know Edward has like family and shit. But she's like, nah, I'm gonna watch you die. Like she just wasn't even there. What the fuck?
yeah, I don't
Isn't
know.
that a huge plot hole?
It is.
Probably because she was outnumbered, right?
Well, I think
Like, the
she. I think
Jamaican
she
guy
just.
was
Well, I
gone
think she
already,
just
but, like,
thought
she
that he
was
was
still
gonna
there.
win because that was like James.
Dude, I like how you called him a Jamaican guy, and he wasn't even Jamaican.
It's just a black guy.
He was just a black guy with dreads. But nothing indicates
It's been a minute since I heard him talk, but I did see him.
Alright.
You're like, no, he's definitely Jamaican.
No, he's definitely Jamaican, man.
Oh man, I want to suck your blood. It didn't happen once.
Just picturing like steel drums.
Like, did she bail to just go hang out with Bob Marley, or like, what's going on?
Also, okay, in the book, do they explain why Will.i.am just why he like suddenly just becomes good? Because they show up back at the Collins house, and then the Jamaican guy's there, and he's like, hey, don't freak out, I'm good now. But like with no explanation.
He probably like smoked a little blunt right before. He's like,
You know what,
yo, I'm so
he's like, everything's chill, let's go get each other.
I shut the sheriff.
Take it easy, man, you know? God, we're being so
They kind of explain it like he's curious about their lifestyle and the fact that like they don't drink human blood and like have like somewhat of a life, and he's only just traveling with the other two. Like he's not actually like hooking up with them.
that's true.
You know.
Then I'm cool with it.
Yeah. But then in the second book, he like tries to kill Bella. So
Oh, what is it?
nice.
yeah, classy motherfucker.
Guess things weren't super chill.
But then he gets eaten by werewolves, so it's all good.
Oh fuck! All right.
It's all good.
Keep on, straight on.
It's all good.
Everyone should give a final thought.
Final thoughts. Let's go around.
Final thoughts.
Thoughts and prayers.
It was a great movie, and Bella's hot.
Dude, Bella is.
I just know the
That's my
first time
final
I watched it, I was super horny, and the second time I watched it, I was just like a little less horny, but still pretty horny.
Edward's pretty hot.
Trevor?
My final thought is I love the line when all the animals are like showing up dead and like people are dying and all this bad shit, and then Bella to her dad is like, what's going on? This is crazy. And then he just goes, you're not in Arizona anymore. And it's like, what? Like, what does that mean? Like,
Aren't there like bobcats
yeah, and
in
it's
Arizona?
like he's like treated it like, oh, this is just normal shit that happens in Washington. It's like, no, this is like a strange occurrence. I don't know. Maybe it's normal because the Collins lived there for a while and they kill animals. I don't know. Never mind. Wrapping it up.
I would just like breathe heavily for a minute. That would be my final take of the movie.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I can't. I don't know. You're asking me about the weather?
She was like, she couldn't get it in the whole time.
She was
That's
just
like,
constipated the entire movie. Just prairie dogging.
That's nasty. No, that was the fucking Jasper. He was constipated.
Yo, the guy that played Jasper was originally, he was one of the top contenders for the role of Edward Cullen. Fun fact.
Fun
It's like,
fact.
oh, you
Him
don't
and
get to
Henry
be
Cavill.
Edward, but you can
Also,
still
can
look
we talk about
constipated.
how, like, you can't even tell in the first movie, but he's, like, trying to fake a southern accent. It's just, like, the worst thing I've ever heard.
I'm a southern vampire. It's like on its own side. He's like, I'm a Swedish plumber.
Alright, well,
Yeah,
you know, I
that's a wrap.
think that about wraps it up for the podcast. Thanks for listening. As always, subscribe or get the
Hit that like, hit that subscribe.
Send all questions or comments to @ShivaBarFarushi.
at Gmail, or just get the link from Trevor's Google Drive, and you can find all his porn on there too.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
And
Most
another special thank you to our special guest,
Thanks for having me.
Jesse. It was great having your expertise here today. We really appreciated it.
I hate that I'm an expert on Twilight.
No,
You
don't
don't
be
get to
ashamed.
choose.
She has read all the books
Yeah.
multiple times.
She has a Twilight tattoo, actually.
She has a
I
Twilight
wish.
podcast
Hopefully we can have you back in the future.
I would love it.
for New Moon.
Number one fan. Thanks
Alright,
for
guys.
having me.
Peace.
Thanks a lot.
but you know